Hey guys, I'm Roget, and this is my next rant. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. We believe, yes, we always believe here, the diversity of thought. Look it up. I wasn't the first to come up with that term, but I heard it in a YouTube video a long time ago. It's really important. Not just diversity for diversity's sake, diversity of thought. We need to think differently than others. I mean, you need to think differently than your parents, your cousins, your grandparents, your friends. It's all very important. It's all very healthy. Just because we have disagreements doesn't mean we can't still be civil and love each other. Because I don't spread hate on this channel. I spread ideas and maybe a little bit of love. All right, so getting into it, I'm going to title this video "What I Learned in Therapy." And I'm just going to talk about things about my mental health, not a ton of personal stuff. I'm just going to say some methods that I use to keep me level-headed and even keel and balanced, and like not too high, not too low. I mean, we all have those high and low points. We're all human, right? So I thought I would share some things that I learned in therapy and that I've learned over the past 5 years that really helped me, and maybe they can help you. So gratitude. Gratitude is very important. You got to visit the gratitoad. You got to lick the toad and tell him what you're grateful for. Not the drug toad. No, don't lick the drug toad. Don't do drugs. um, but but gratitude, there's a lot of things that we do in life take for granted, like a roof over our head. I have a roof over my head. I have a reliable car. Yeah, it's old and it's nothing special about it, but I mean, it gets me from A to B, and that's something to be grateful for. Not everybody has a great network of family and friends that they can turn to in times of crisis. I do, and I'm sure some of you do, and some of you don't. So there's a lot of things that you can, be grateful for. It's like, oh, I had one meal today. I had two meals today. I had three meals today. There's a lot of things that you can really, the more you think of grateful things, sometimes it can overpower the bad. I know there's situations where people are really in low points and they're in a rut and they're not feeling too great, but it's a good tactic to implement. Like, just really think about what you're grateful for. I have a ton of crap that I don't even need or use, but I have it, and it's really nice to have. I live a comfortable life. I mean, like, I have a job that I don't hate. I like going there every day. I like the people that I interact with, and it's a great company. There's some things that you can be grateful for. So next thing is mindfulness exercises. What I like to do is being mindful of your thoughts. Now, how you're feeling is only how you're feeling in the present moment. It doesn't mean that you're always going to feel that way. You're not going to be depressed 24/7 unless you have a medical condition. You're not going to be happy all the time. You're not going to be sad, angry, frustrated, lonely. I mean, I've felt pretty lonely lately, but it's how you're feeling in the present moment. What I learned is that we are not our thoughts. Some things may have happened to us in our past, or we may be fearful of what's happening in the near to far future that kind of gives us anxiety, and that's normal. That's fine. But you're not always going to feel that way. Being mindful is important, and that leads me into my next point, which is reframe thinking. You may look at things as a negative, but it's always about the glass half full mentality. If you can try to practice the grass can't even talk, the glass half full mentality, that's important. you know like, I'll give you like an example. Like, I got into a fender bender like a couple months ago, or like 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I was like, oh man, it was like this big deal. But then I was like, you know what, this is actually, it's actually a good thing, because now I can learn what not to do next time, and I'll be better for it. Now, that's just one way of reframing something. Or like, let's just say you got a bad grade, or you didn't get that raise you wanted at work. Well, you can try to think of it as like, oh, well, maybe I can work harder, or maybe I can look for a better job. It's like, oh, I get the opportunity to look for a new job, or like, I get the opportunity to improve my grade, or my life. Like, everyone, like, one of my detriments is that I'm way too hard on myself, and I always think that I'll never be, not like, not never, but I'm never good enough and stuff like that. So it's always important to kind of like stay grounded and level, and just remember that you're not always going to be that way. any little bit of progress is progress. You don't have to make a huge change overnight, or even over the course of a few months. Sometimes these things take years, and you got to be patient. And I learned patience. I've been pretty patient a long time, for a long while. So, and then also think about, maybe there's a lot of things that happen to us in our lives, but we tend to attach it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. We always attach those things to what happens, like events, like personal things that we have not a lot of problem sharing with other people. We always attach things that are good and bad. We always do. We always do it. We're like, oh wow, this is great. I had a great day at work, or it's just like, oh, I had a fender bender, or it's like, oh, it's they're just things that happen, and we attach those things, and like sometimes our brains can harp on the bad, and sometimes they can harp on the good, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, you want to know, you want to be aware of your surroundings, and you want to be like, okay, well, I just cut myself by accident. That's it's bad. You got to fix it, but they're just things that happen. I know that might not make a ton of sense, and I'm not really super elaborating, but it happens. We all do it. Like, it's me personally, I've gained a little bit of weight, and I was like, oh, it's really bad, but it's it happens to everybody. No one's perfect. So those are just a few things that I learned in therapy and stuff like that. Like, reframing your thoughts, like reframing your thinking, is very important. Um, like, let's see, it's like, oh, like if yeah. So there's many ways that you can do it. If you're not where you want to be or something like that, you can just say, it's like, oh well, what can I do to change that? Or um, it's like, oh well, I miss this person in my life. Well, how can that may make you feel sad, or it might be a bad thing, but like, what can you do to change it? Reframe your thinking and stuff like that. Like, I'm not a mental health expert. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. But these are just some things that I learned that I thought there were ideas worth sharing. If you liked it, hit that like button. And if you didn't, make sure to give that dislike button a huge smash for me. All right. If you didn't like my face, my topic, or my shirt, just let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. And that subscribe button, hit that as well if you want to see more crazy videos from this crazy guy. And the notification bell, it might work, it might not. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you next time.